The doctors had already signed the papers in their minds when the millionaire collapsed onto the cold marble floor of the private hospital corridor, his expensive suit wrinkling as if it no longer mattered. His daughter, the only light left in his vast, echoing world, had just 3 days to live. 3 days. Not 3 years, not 3 months. 3 sunrises before her small heart would give up the fight no amount of money could buy. Outside the glass walls, the city kept breathing, traffic kept moving, and strangers kept living, unaware that for one man, time had begun to die. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the idea that miracles can come from the most unexpected places, take a moment right now to like this video, share it with someone you love, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps keep stories like this alive, and sometimes, belief is the first step toward hope. The man was known to the world as a titan of industry, a self-made billionaire whose name was carved into buildings and whispered in boardrooms. But inside that hospital, he was only a father watching machines breathe for his child. His daughter lay pale and still, her chest rising and falling in shallow defiance of fate. Rare complications, the doctors said. Unpredictable. Untreatable. Even experimental treatments had failed. He had flown specialists from 3 continents, emptied accounts without hesitation, and offered rewards that could change generations. Nothing had worked. The hospital room smelled of antiseptic and quiet despair, and the ticking clock on the wall felt louder than any scream. Outside, far beyond the hospital's polished gates, the city showed a different face. Beneath a flyover stained with years of dust and rain lived a street kid most people never noticed. He slept on cardboard, ate whatever the day allowed, and learned early that survival meant watching carefully. He was small for his age, with eyes too old and hands always busy, fixing broken toys, tying wires, helping mechanics for scraps. He had grown up watching his mother fade away from an illness no one treated because no one cared. He learned then that pain didn't announce itself with wealth or power, it just arrived and stayed. On the second night of the countdown, the boy wandered near the hospital, drawn by the bright lights and the warmth spilling from its walls. He had learned to stay invisible, but something tugged at him, a feeling he couldn't explain. Through the glass, he saw a man slumped in a chair, staring through a window at a child who looked like she was sleeping too deeply. The boy didn't know words like terminal or prognosis, but he recognized grief. It was the same look his mother had when she realized no help was coming. The boy had a strange gift, one born not of education but of instinct and observation. He could sense patterns in people, notice small changes others ignored. Over years of living on the streets, he had watched herbal sellers, old healers, and scavengers who survived on forgotten knowledge. His grandmother, long gone, had once shown him how certain plants affected the body, how warmth and rhythm could steady breathing, how hope itself could change the way pain behaved. He never called it medicine. It was just what worked when nothing else did. The next morning, as the billionaire paced the hospital courtyard, the boy approached quietly, carrying nothing but a worn cloth bag. Security moved to push him away, but the father, hollowed by exhaustion, barely noticed. The boy knelt near a patch of neglected greenery by the wall and began rubbing leaves between his fingers, releasing a sharp, clean scent. Nurses passing by slowed, curious. The air felt different there, calmer somehow, and even the billionaire paused, drawn by the unfamiliar steadiness in the chaos of his thoughts. What happened next was not instant or dramatic. There were no flashing lights or sudden recoveries. The boy was eventually allowed inside, not because anyone believed in him, but because nothing else remained to try. He washed his hands carefully, mimicking what he had seen others do, and sat near the child, focusing not on fear but on rhythm. He adjusted the room slightly, opening a window just enough to let fresh air in, placing warmth where machines had left coldness. He stayed silent, steady, present, as if he were anchoring something fragile back to the world. Hours passed. Then something subtle shifted. The monitors didn't scream, but they softened. Breathing deepened just enough to be noticed. A nurse blinked twice, unsure if she was imagining it. The father leaned forward, afraid to hope, terrified to look away. Over the next day, the child's color returned by degrees so small they felt like coincidences, yet they continued. Doctors argued quietly, rechecking scans, recalculating expectations. No explanation fit. No textbook offered comfort. By the third day, the deadline that had haunted everyone arrived quietly, like a storm that forgot to rain. The girl opened her eyes. Not fully, not brightly, but enough. Enough to break a man who had spent his life unbroken. The billionaire cried without shame, his tears falling onto hands that had signed deals worth millions but had never held gratitude like this. The street kid sat back, exhausted, as if whatever force had guided him had finally let go. The recovery was slow and careful, filled with monitoring and disbelief. The doctors called it an anomaly. The media called it a mystery. The billionaire called it a miracle. But when he searched for the boy to thank him, to reward him, to change his life forever, the street kid was gone. He had slipped back into the city before praise could catch him, before money could weigh him down. He returned to his corner under the flyover, carrying nothing new except the quiet knowledge that he had mattered. Weeks later, the billionaire found him anyway, not with cameras or contracts, but with humility. He didn't offer headlines. He offered a home, education, safety, and respect. More importantly, he offered purpose. The boy, who had once been invisible, became a bridge between forgotten wisdom and modern care, a reminder that solutions don't always wear lab coats or carry price tags. Just before the ending, take a moment to comment below and tell us where you're watching from, or share one word that describes how this story made you feel. Years passed, and the little girl grew into laughter and light, her life no longer measured in days but in dreams. The street kid grew too, never forgetting the cold ground or the warmth of a hand held in hope. And the world, for those who paid attention, learned a quiet lesson. Sometimes the impossible doesn't arrive with power or wealth, but barefoot, carrying nothing except belief. If this story touched your heart, if it made you believe even a little more in humanity and hidden miracles, please like the video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and leave a comment to let us know. Your engagement keeps these stories alive, and somewhere, someone might need this reminder more than you know.